In this video, I'll be working on filling up this empty area between the waypoint and the giant skeleton. I've made a rough layout of what I wanted to do. I'm gonna make catacombs, so just a bunch of skulls and bones lining the walls here. The ossuary gives a bit of inspiration for what we want to do in the hideout. So there's a bunch of overflowing bones, some designs on the ground, some skulls on the ground, and of course the bones along the walls. Something like this giant bone pile could be achieved, but you do always want to consider the decoration limit, which I think may be something that I'll have issues with later on in my hideout. If we look at this pillar, it looks like it can be easily achievable, and it is also fairly light on the decoration count. So with these things in mind, we have to think about what we're going to build the catacombs with. For the decorations, we have the darker bricks and the lighter bricks. I think if we use the overgrown arch, it may be a bit busy with all the vines and leaves growing on it. Since we're incorporating bones and skulls in this, we'll just place down a skeleton display and see how they look against the different decorations. So the bones contrast very well with the darker bricks, and it's not as well against the lighter bricks and against the overgrown arch. It's very busy and cluttered, which I don't think I'm going to use that decoration. So for the wall, I think I'll use the crypt pillar since it's darker, and I'll also use a little bit of the catacomb pillar with this variation in order to give a little variety. I finished this section of the hideout, and I think it turned out pretty well. I used the skeleton display for the lighter skulls, and the skull with stick for the darker ones. I used the moss monster in order to get this red in the little dish offerings here, and it just gives a bit of color variation for the design. I do want to create a floor design for the catacombs, but I think I'll wait until I see how many decorations I'll be using for the entire hideout first. I do have a lot of decorations already. I fear I may be getting a bit close to the limit. If I do hit the limit, I'll close off this door area. One thing that I've neglected to say is that I wanted the hideout to feel like it's underground or indoors, at least partially. So to help with this illusion, we need to block off the player's movement for the bottommost area. For the top, you just need to get really high decorations. For this bottom area, I'll make it in a similar style to what I did on the top. So I'll just have a bunch of skulls and skeletons on the walls. However, when I added the pillar and the Sarn archway, I noticed that the skeleton's hand was blocked off. So what I'll do is add a cave-in, and it'll enable me to create lower walls and also enable us to add a bunch of decorations to block off the player's movement on the bottom side. For the water from the fountain, instead of having it branch off to each side, I'll have it go straight through the middle, right up to the giant's head. This is a rough border of where I need to restrict the player's movement, and if you look on the bottom right, you won't be able to see the outside of the hideout. The entire catacomb area is now complete, and the cave-in worked very nicely. So if you look over here, the wall is broken, which allows us to see the skeleton's hand. For the cave-in, I just used a bunch of large rocks, cave trash, and the large crypt rubble. I've used the skulls and other decorations that were on the top, but these are in a more decayed state, so hopefully it gives the illusion that there was a cave-in. The skeleton knight turned out well. I used a bunch of the bird variations of the skeleton display for the horse, and I used the large overgrown statue and the stone statue for the spear and the shield. And I've also connected the fountain water. It goes underneath the knight and down to the map device, where it overflows into the gap. Unfortunately, I'm very close to the decoration limit, so for the next episode I'll be working on finishing up, closing up the different empty spaces, as well as adding some finishing touches to the decorations that I've already covered.